So guess what? Biden issues executive order on southern border limiting asylum. Michael Tracy says Biden is reportedly going to issue an executive order that is substantively identical. That's one of those words I have a hard time saying. You know how you can't say
substantively? Did I say it? Substantively.
Substantively. Substantively?
Oh, substantively.
I don't know. Substantive.
You can say substantively. You're okay.
Ask Google. Anyway, it's an order that is identical to the one issued by Trump in 2018. Back then, it was hysterically not. I mean, of hysterics, not funny, but it was.
It's kind of funny though, looking back.
Looking back, it was hysterically decried as fascism, Nazism, and literally concentration camps.
They made AOC cry in a parking lot.
So Biden is legislating against his previous legislation because he does remember that it was he who signed off on it, and now he's aping Donald Trump's border closures. And when I say aping, it mostly means he's no longer verbal and he just throws his own shit around. That's what I mean. Biden expected to unveil immigration order severely limiting asylum seeker crossings. And by severely limiting, by severe, do they mean barely a drop in the bucket versus the damage that's already been done?
Yeah. How is that going to...
And by expected, do they mean nothing will come of it anyway?
That's what I expected.
That's what, Joe Biden wouldn't know which way the wind is blowing if he tried to board Air Force One through the jet engine, okay? President Joe Biden is expected to announce an executive order as early as Tuesday. Well, that would be today. That would effectively shut down the U.S.-Mexico border to asylum seekers crossing illegally when a daily threshold of crossings is exceeded. A sweeping and controversial proposal that is likely to receive fierce pushback from progressives and immigration advocates. So what they're going to do is they're going to close the border once 2,500 people cross it. And then they're going to wait a day and then open it back up and then let 25...
What? Also, executive order, where'd that come from?
Oh, by the way, remember he said he couldn't do anything unless Congress could act it, and now it turns out he can.
Did he run this by the parliamentarian? Or you're telling me he could just, without a parliamentarian, can just do a thing?
This is just an act of desperation. Because I'll tell you what, when Joe Biden got elected, polling showed that people favored Joe Biden handling the border by 1 percentage points over Trump. Now, do you know who has the advantage, Kurt?
If I had to guess.
But guess by how much? By 27%.
Yeah, well, I do notice...
People favor Trump over Biden.
It's 27% more obvious what a problem the border is now.
At least.
So you got to be a diehard, half a zombie Democrat to tap it. What is their problem going on there? Have you ever talked to people who have no idea there's a problem happening right now?
So... the executive action would mark a significant attempt by Biden to address head-on one of his biggest political vulnerabilities. Just weeks before the first presidential debate, Trump has made hardline immigration policies a cornerstone of his campaign. So, so the executive order, by the way, it's a hardline policy.
Yeah, what?
It's a hardline policy.
The every other day policy?
It's a hardline policy to know who is coming in and out of our country. That's called a hardline policy. But wait, do they mean border? Is that what the hard line is, the border?
I think that's the definition of border. It's the hard line that would separate countries where you got to show ID.
I bet Joe Biden is going to build a wall and paint a rainbow on it.
So wait, the only 2 times you don't need ID in life in this ID heavy world that I live in.
The only 2 times
is voting and crossing the border. Do you think there's any correlation at all between those things?
Isn't that amazing?
Where's the 2 places I don't need ID? I need it for the plane right?
You definitely need
or
it for,
be questioned for a while.
You needed to drive a car. You needed to check into a hotel.
But not voting.
You need to write a
crossing the
check.
border.
You needed to deposit or take money out. You need it for everything.
I really feel like
except to vote.
Yeah.
Or to cross the border.
I don't know how you can make it more obvious what the plan is than that. You know what I mean?
That's like saying you need to wear a mask when you walk into a restaurant, but not when you sit down and eat.
Or when you're rioting.
Or rioting. The executive order uses an authority known as 212F. I thought you could dial 212F and get a New Yorker to curse at you any time of day or night. That's what I thought it was.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like. That is the area code.
Was I wrong about that? Dial 212F. Hey, what's your fucking problem, you cocksucker?
Go F yourself.
It's a regulation that was used under the Trump administration and widely denounced at the time by Democrats. The executive action, which has been in the works for months, would severely restrict migrants from seeking asylum at the border if they cross the border unlawfully once daily encounters between ports of entry reach 2,500, meaning that the measure is likely to almost immediately take effect. But by the time, it's great that they denounced it, because that worked out great. Denouncing Trump's doing that. Joe Biden went to minus 30% in the polls over it.
Who made that joke about denouncing things like you're the Archbishop of Canterbury? Oh, Colin Quinn.
Oh, did he?
They calling for a denouncement. Like, what are you, the Archbishop of Canterbury? I denounce this.
So, again, that's great. So they're going to let in 2,500 a day and then close the border and then reopen it again the next day.
So it's just a big crock of shit, it sounds like.
Migrants could still request an appointment to present their asylum claim at a port of entry. Unaccompanied children would be exempt.
Yes.
Of course they're going to be exempt.
What the fuck?
I mean, first of all, you can never have enough unaccompanied children.
What is going on?
Of course they're going to be exempt, Kurt, because, we got a trafficking industry to maintain. Am I right?
Yeah.
I mean, that doesn't have a political wing, by the way. That's the whole bird right there.
No kidding.
Anyway, so unaccompanied kids are okay. Unaccompanied.
Boy, that's a proud American tradition going back to the orphan trains of the Great West.
Yes, talk about...
Oligarchs shipped orphans out unaccompanied for all kinds of adventures.
That's some valuable property right there. I mean, dreamers.
Yeah, right. The dreamers.
So that advocates have said such an exemption could encourage some families to send children to the border on their own. You think?
Oh, you don't say. Or you could just take their children and they can't do anything about it. You could also do that. They got a lot of options with this.
Dreamers. That was the term Obama used. He called them dreamers.
Yeah, right.
Right. Dreamers. What are they dreaming of? Not being trafficked? Keep on dreaming. The executive action would allow authorities to turn away migrants while in effect either to Mexico or their origin country. The U.S. previously worked with Mexico when a COVID-19 era border restriction known as Title 42 also resulted in certain migrants being returned to Mexico. Really? The U.S. previously worked with... we already did this. The action would mark a significant policy shift for Biden's administration, which has taken a more aggressive approach to border security after years of grappling with border crises fueled by record migration as it has attempted to blunt Republican attacks during a heated election year. Border authorities have recently been apprehending just under 4,000 migrants unlawfully crossing the border, according to a Homeland Security official, and there have been roughly 1,500 appointments per day through the U.S. Customs and Border Protection mobile app. Under the executive order, the border would reopen once daily illegal crossings drop, according to one of the sources. So it'll only reopen when we need more fodder for our wars, I'm going to guess, right?
Oh, just fodder in general. I mean, you have to understand having low-paid underclass is very useful for all kinds of construction, when we have this cocaine cowboys thing, but of fentanyl that they're going to start up, so we can have a Reagan sunrise. There's a lot of uses.
Look at this Washington Post headline, says Democrats frustrated with Biden border order. That rhymes. That's nice.
Frustrated how?
Sounds like a rap lyric.
Yeah.
The border order.
Why are they frustrated with it?
Why are they frustrated? Let's translate that headline for you, Kurt. Democrats feign disappointment in Biden for doing what Trump did, since they put Trump in once and all their stupid base are going to go do it again. They're going to do it again.
Okay, but their base, I mean, who is their base now?
I don't think they...
That you have to literally work for Biden in some way to be in the base of that. Like, you got to be on staff with, like, Anthony Blinken and something, you know?
By the way, not to mix stories, but I heard the never Trumper Republicans are going back to Trump after he got convicted. Really? Yep. Mitch McConnell.
Wow, this really split the lizards.
Yep.
Old turtle man.
I think the only Republicans left who are not on Trump are going to be that what is it, the Lincoln Project people, and that's just a money grift.
Right.
The White House has been doing outreach to Democratic members. Administration officials held a meeting with the leadership Congressional Hispanic Caucus 2 weeks ago before the administration settled on asylum action, where the CHC leaders pitched the executive action they wanted to the White House to take and express concern with any action that would limit asylum, specifically stating they did not support using presidential authority to restrict. They are being crazy. Even people who came here illegally are against illegal immigration.
Yeah.
Even people who came here illegally.
It's weird how that works. It's funny how that works. Kick the ladder down. I just got it.
No doubt. Because a lot of them had to pay all kinds of money and go through all kinds of shit just so they could stay here.
Yeah.
And of course, workers don't want this.
Well,
people on the lowest end of the economic rung don't want this.
You understand these are Chris Cuomo's. They're not like real people. They're just saying lines that they're supposed to say. They don't have any feelings one way or another about anything.
The person who really needs asylum is Joe Biden, so he could be with his own kind, with the catatonics and the squirrels.
Oh.
Anyway, White House Chief of Staff Jeff Zients. I didn't know that was the Chief of Staff. I never heard this guy's name before. Anybody here ever heard Jeff Zients? Never heard his name before. When did he become Chief of Staff? He's been calling individual members of Congress over the last few days to update them on the plan. Really? One of them is Representative Pramila Jayapal.
Jamila
Jayapal, chair of the Congressional Progressive Caucus. Oh, Jesus. She's about as progressive as Peter Dow. She said she has told Zients, who is Joe Biden's chief of staff, both on the phone Sunday and previously, that the path the president is taking is very, very disappointing.
What are you going to do about it, bitch? That's what he said.
Oh, my God. You're going to vote for me anyway. We should be distinguishing ourselves from Donald Trump on immigration, Payapal said. We should be offering the contrast. An open border is they don't care.
So, okay, by the way, isn't she Palestinian or something?
Is that, or is that to the other one?
I thought, no, you're right, she's not. But I thought she was part of that, like, there's a genocide going on. You really think now's the thing, Jamila PayPal, that matters after that? Is this a bigger disappointment than, say, the Gaza thing?
Does he still get an A+? Because that's what she gave him.
Remember? I thought that was AOC.
And PayPal.
PayPal gave me, because AOC
gave an A+. Yeah, she gave him an A+.
Wow. Well, that's what my teacher used to say when I get an A+ on a test. I'm very disappointed.
Steph would have students complain that they got an A-. Can you imagine complaining you got an A-?
Yeah, you got to go home and face a psychopath parent that's going to put you in this system and make Jamila PayPals. They're being trafficked. That's why they need a
Rashida Tlaib is the.
That's right.
Yeah. PayPal and other Democrats who spoke said that Biden is ignoring U.S. law that requires granting asylum to people with a credible fear in their home countries, and that the real challenge is a lack of legal paths to immigration, which is why people are relying on the asylum system. What? I just can't. The open border is popular with nobody. It's not popular with workers. It's not popular with immigrants who came here legally. It's not popular with immigrants who came here illegally. It's not popular with anybody. But they still...
Okay, remember Kelly Osbourne got in trouble because she goes,
she
Donald
said,
Trump, who's going to clean your toilets?
Yeah.
And so they have a lot of turnover, I imagine, from deaths and things.
Yeah.
So they need a steady supply of human flesh.
I do not think that shutting down the border, quote unquote, is a remedy that will get us to where we need to be on immigration reform, said Representative, she's a Democrat, Sylvia Garcia. It's a nice name, though.
Yeah.
Frustrated Democrats acknowledge that Biden is trying to appeal to independent voters. Don't start trying to appeal to anyone now, Joe. Too late for that. Just put on the leather trench coat and spike helmet and admit this is a takeover. Right?
He's alienating the base voters who elected him. International child traffickers.
Come on, Joe. Stop farting around. Seriously, we're getting complaints from the staff. Even Representative Hillary Schulten, she's a Democrat from Michigan, She's an immigration lawyer who represents a swing district. She says she is uncomfortable with Biden's expected action.
Wait, he didn't even do anything yet. His expected action. So just in advance of him doing it, oh my God, I hate their little heads.
I understand that Biden administration feels like they need to do something. It's heart-wrenching to see that this is the something they are choosing, knowing full well that this is not going to come close to solving the problem that we are experiencing. Hey, how about you get Biden to stop economically sanctioning and overthrowing governments in Central and South America? How about that? How about you stop creating desperate people who need asylum? How about you stop the fucking drug war? How about you do any of that shit? You ever think about that?
Also, for just giving a shit like that about people that live here.
That's right. How about that?
We'll start with that.
Your answer to everything is an open border? That's your answer? Critics of the plan are pushing the administration to follow up with humanitarian-focused executive orders that provide work permits. That's what we need. Work permits for immigrant caregivers and their spouses, and to help dreamers. People who were brought to the United States illegally as children.
Well, that sounds so much like they are being trafficked. Every time I see dreamers, and they're brought here illegally as children, what is this?
Yeah, whatever you do, stay asleep, because if you wake up, you're going to realize how effed you are. Senator Alex Padilla of California, who was sharply critical of the bipartisan Senate immigration bill, argued Democrats who back Biden's executive order are also misreading the politics. You think so? God damn it, these Democrats.
Well, in terms of he's not really doing anything, I guess. But you think nobody wants you to do something?
While some people point to how well an orderly and secure border polls, what polls even better is support for dreamers and farm workers and other essential workers who happen to be undocumented. So you're talking about you're talking about workers that aren't here yet,
who happen to be undocumented. It just so happens I came here illegally. It could happen to anybody.
What polls the best is a combination of the policies taken together. Oh, Jesus. Okay. But not all Democrats are critical. I think it's the right direction, said Sherrod Brown of Ohio, who's running for re-election in the state Trump won by 8 points. He told reporters of Biden's executive order, I want to see more. There's a guy trying to win an election.
Everybody's got their script.
After being encouraged by Trump to reject the bipartisan border security bill, Republicans said Biden didn't need Congress because he could accomplish much of it through executive order. Now, most say Biden's action is clearly a political ploy, even as some acknowledge that his message of blaming congressional Republicans for inaction. Remember, he was trying to blame he goes, it's up to the Congress. They got to do something.
Well, you shouldn't have done an executive order because now you just told me you could have done something without them.
I don't think you can, in good conscience, accuse Joe Biden for doing something for political reasons, because at this point, he's just basically following a laser dot on the floor like a cat. Wow.
The Nikki Haley country of...
I think he's simply making a political decision, said Representative Marcus Molinaro, Republican of New York, who represents a district Biden won in 2020. But it certainly is a bit disingenuous. I think that they're making a political calculation right now. I get it, said Tony Gonzalez, Republican of Texas, whose district runs along the Mexico border. I also think they're counting on the courts to stop whatever they're doing. Anyway, is there really more to this? I think that's enough. I don't want to talk about this enough.
It's just like such a joke.
Yeah. So it's almost certain to trigger immediate lawsuits.
Yeah.
Touching off a fight that will last months and probably reach the Supreme Court. Thomas Warwick, a former Department of Homeland Security official who's now a senior fellow at the Atlanta Council, said he expected the courts to respond by staying the order, temporarily preventing it from taking effect.
Yeah, well, we need these desperate people.
Oh, Jesus.
We need desperate people to test out our new technologies on. Our many amazing technologies that can go inside your brain and your body.
Trump signed more than 470 executive orders during his term. Did you know that?
No kidding. Hey,
Yeah.
You know what?
The ACLU is going to sue him.
Oh, good.
The Biden administration just announced an executive order. The action will take some of the same approach as Trump administration's asylum ban. We will be challenging this order in court. Look at the ACL fucking you, right?
Well, but I bet you they would never defend you saying, I'd like you to not do that. I bet they won't defend that.
Speaker Mike Johnson said 126 days ago, Joe Biden stated, I've done all I can do to fix the border catastrophe. Today he's announcing an executive order using the same authority he denied he had.
I mean,
if he was actually concerned about the wide open border, he would have acted a long time ago.
Harry Potter's right.
But he just remembered that he had this executive power.
Oh, is that what it is?
After allowing 10 to 13 million illegal aliens to cross the border in the last 3.5 years and refusing to take action, we are now supposed to believe the Biden administration wants to actually take action 5 months before the election? Yeah, I don't believe him.
Manly name, by the way, Chad Wolf.
That's a nice name. So Viva la Revolution says, so when Biden signs his new immigration ban into law, is AOC going to go down to the border and have a cry on the fence in front of the cameras again? Actor's note for AOC, keep the chopped onions on hand, literally.
I don't think that suntan lotion thing passed.
I don't think it did.
Maybe not. She can't be in the sun. The sunscreen measures.
Okay, over to Steph.
Okay.
If I I were Rabbi Shmuley and diddle 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 digga digga diddle diddle dum. All day long I'd diddle little bums. If I were a Shmuley man, I'd peddle all my dildos, dreidel dildos, selling dildos with my daughter and her mum. If I were a Jewish Shmuley man, I'd be digging with a dildo in my bum. I'd wear a grotesque nose and go grab some goyim right on the nipple with a pinch. A Shabbos lap dance brace for the youngest mensch.
At this time, more than any other time, revolution is necessary. It is necessary. Not only based on what has happened with the MOVE organization, the babies that have been murdered, MOVE adults that have been murdered, bombs being dropped on us, but past that to what is happening with all black people, so-called minority people, money poor people. This government, as has been said earlier, has waged war on us. But something about us, particularly here in America, we don't really understand that. We don't really know what war is, for black people, for poor people, that people see as good, that they wasn't forced to do, that they didn't do to try to keep black people appeased, and calm down so that black people wouldn't riot. A prison situation is a crystallized example of that. You can make phone calls in prison. They have movies in prison, but they don't have those things because they just want to be nice to prisoners. They have those things because they know damn well if they don't have, people being able to contact their family, if they don't have, facilities for people to sit there and watch movies, people are going to be frustrated, upset, and they're going to direct that frustration at them prison administrators, and they're going to have riots on their hands. They're going to have people in them prisons turning them prisons out. That's why they have movies. That's why they have access to phones the way they do. And a stop to it when we don't like it, or encouraging it when it's something that's in our interest. We have to call the shots. The people have to take the reins of this system and start dictating what we need, what needs to be done. And, taking the initiative to do it ourselves. We can't rely on this system. Don't people see what's happening? Every single confrontation that MOVE people have been involved in, every single issue, oppression, economic issues, every single issue facing our people, is something that can be dealt with very, very simply. All people got to do is make their wishes known. All people have to do is stand up and say, listen, we're not accepting that. Unity is the key. Unity is the key to revolution. Revolution ain't nothing to be afraid of. It ain't nothing to shy away from. Revolution, contrary to what officials, this system and those backing the officials running this system, want people to believe that revolution means violence, means blood in the street. I'm saying it can get to that point, but it don't have to be violent. When people come together and take a strong stand on an issue, this government don't have no choice but to listen. Where you think they get their authority from? They don't have no power, but they do have authority to do certain things. Where do you think they get it from? They get it from us, from the people. They get it from us accepting the things that they do to be done to stop it. Then you have some people who want to then turn around and say, yeah, well, it's the best we have, and want to make excuses. The time for excuses is over. It's over. Every man, woman, and child has to be involved in this revolution. Not only has to be, but is, whether you want to be or not. Our babies gave their lives for this revolution on May 13th. Men, women, and children were murdered. And not just MOVE babies. What about all of the young men, women, you know, children 8, 9 years old shot down on the street by cops, you know, by drug pushers. I mean, you know, where do you think that mentality comes from? It comes from this system, from the mentality of this system of getting over, you know, making a quick buck, you know. I'm saying that's where that needs to be done to stop it. Then, you know, what I want people to really, really understand is that it's past time. It is past time for poor people, black people, you know, to realize that this system has failed you. It has failed you. You can't get nothing from it. And what people got to do is withdraw our support from it and start doing for ourselves. That's what we got to do. You know, how long are people going to sit back and beg, you know, this government to do what's right when for hundreds of years all you've gotten is a slap in the face? All you've gotten is this government kicking your ass. That's all. That's all black people have ever gotten from this government.
Hey, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down there for more AM Joy and the rest of MSNBC. And click on any of the videos right here to watch the latest interviews and highlights. And you can get more videos from MSNBC for free every day with our newsletter. Just visit